Hello everyone, Darkfather here. This time with a new Wolcen build. This is the Bladestorm-Anvil Bladestorm build. We call it Shadow Reaper. If you like it, please consider following and like it for more Wolcen content. Please comment if you have questions or suggestions on how to improve the build. Also, joining me on Twitch and on other social platforms linked below will be great. As usually, this is recorded in one go, so please be kind with my inherent mistakes. Also, if I may miss something or discuss something new, I will update it in the description, so please do have a look there for additional details or changes. I will add also there the links for additional gameplay videos. All the characters can be also downloaded from my Discord, so you can play them as you see them here. For online, I do have some duplicated gear, so feel free to poke me to trade. Let's start. Let's make a build overview as usually. This is a spin to win, full melee build, where you use Shadow Bladestorm to kill every mob. It's a heavy buff build using the same principle as the John Hate build. Right, I'm buffing, therefore my skills, they go to a huge damage and my defense goes to 180, right? So this is practically the idea. It's a nice melee build, great AoE, lacks a bit on single target as the toxic version of it. Let's talk about damage modifiers. What do we like on this build? We like to have flat weapon damage, we like to have flat damage to attacks. We do want to have as much skill modifier, damage multiplier as you can. Attack skill multipliers, of course. Damage type skill damage multipliers like Occult and Shadow. Percentage to damage, attack, melee, one-handed in my case, or two-handed if you start like that. Percentage damage to Occult or Shadow. And also we like to aim for crit and crit chance around 50% if we can, and attack speed over 60 if we can. Now depends on the gear, you may be able or not able to do that. Let's move next. The next piece for us is attributes. Very simple. I like my attack crit chance of 50%. I don't know why, but I like it. You see it in all my last builds. So I encourage you to do the same. I like my attack speed to be 60% as well. It's not possible if you use those rings, but if you use others, it's very easy. Even if I drop them, I think I will get 65 already, right? So this is an option to use those rings. And the rest I put in toughness, because this build can do skulls quite decent. It doesn't have the DPS of my John Aids or other builds, so you won't be able to do it as easy, but you can do skulls pretty decently. So on skulls, you want to have that toughness so you don't get one-shotted, right? That's why you do that. So again, depends on you. When you level, feel free to drop toughness and put everything in ferocity and agility to be more to practically kill mobs faster, right? Let's go and look on the skills now. So as we were saying before, this is a buff one, right? So I will show you again why it's a buff one. You see, this is 40k as base, but if I buff with everything, you reach to 170, and you can do even more, right? 170, 60 to 65% crit chance, and almost 400 kit damage, right? So which is pretty cool. If you look here at the anvil and you do the same, right, goes to 500,000 with the buffs, and you have a 60% crit chance and 356 crit damage. So huge increase, plus the statical transferal, if you manage to do it, is going to make sure your anvil hits like a truck. Now let's look a little bit. So we said I'm using first as a main skill is the Bladestorm, and this is the setup I'm using for it. Let me see. I like the shockwave, but you may not like it, so you may consider taking crit, for example. Let's see what I have. I have critical damage, skill weapon damage, buff attack speed and cast speed. I like this one as well. You can probably choose to have increased rage if you need more rage. Other options which are good, I think, are attack critical chance score, and this is good as well. So you may for example say I don't like this one and take those two here. But play around. I'm not necessarily convinced this is the best one. Now anvil, I set it up for AoE, for single target only. and this is the setup I use. Now you can use this one, right? And you can transform this in a very powerful AoE skill if you want. So feel free to do an experiment as well. And then I use Wings of Wishmere. I don't know why I have them on Ren, to be honest. I think I should have them on Shadow. I think I had them like that from my previous build, which was the toxic one. And here, what you want from Wings is mainly your rage regeneration. So you take this one, and the rest, I think they are buffs only, because we are not using Wings to do damage. We are using it just to stun and move and buff ourselves and generate rage, right? So it's a utility skill if you want. The next ones, if you know my previous builds, I'm taking them only for this one, for the fact that you get a damage buff to shadow damage. Same with Thunderstrike. The rest are not that impressive. You don't necessarily need them. And the most important for this build is the Shout. Gives you rage generation, but also gives you block chance, right? And I have other stuff here, and you can change them all as much as you want. I will keep this one because this is 15% block chance. But because of our gear, and we'll go very fast to it after that, because of our gear, this goes not by 15%, but goes by close to 60%. So you reach 100. And if you want to do skulls, you want to have 180 block efficiency to be amazingly tanky, right? If you don't want to do skulls, feel free to drop that. You don't necessarily need it like that. Okay, so this was our skills. One more stuff which I always forget, and make sure I will not now. I don't always forget, I'm joking, is the Mark of Impurity. If you have the Trial Belt, then the Trial Belt is going to trigger the Mark, and you want the Mark to be set up because the Mark is taking advantage of all the modifiers. This is how I have it. Feel free to improvise, but this is the way I think the community decided is the best approach. You have some options which are very nice around here, but this works for me. So next, let's go to our Gate of Fates. Gate of Fates very, very fast. Let's see first how I have it set up. So here you have Sentinel, here you have Warmonger, and here you have Siegebreaker. Right, and now I will explain very fast what I take. You want to take crit damage multiplier in general for most of your builds. So I'm taking it. I also take Occult Affliction because I have the Trial Belt, and because I'm also taking the 2 ailment stacks. If you don't have Trial Belt and if you don't take the ailment staff, don't go here. Doesn't make sense for you, right? So this one doesn't make sense. I do take 2 ailments because I want to also get ether damage and stasis so I can use the Time Weaver. This is not an amazing node if you want for trash mobs on the standard gameplay difficulty because it's 2 seconds delay, so it doesn't feel that great. But it's pretty good when you do skulls because this is 25 plus 15. This is 40% more damage, which is huge actually, by the way. And it's only 3 points if you are here. So if you are here, take it. Make sure you can apply Ether. I decided to apply it with my weapon, but you can apply it with Ether Jump, for example, if you want, so you don't need to take this node. For this build, I always take plus 20% block efficiency, and block efficiency from here. You can take also the block chance for here if you need it in some time, so pretty good. I take the residual energy, 20% additional damage for attacks after a spell. If you remember, we use spell to buffs, and this is an extra buff, which is very cool. On many builds, you want to get willpower and rage, so I'm taking it as well here. This is amazing for any rage one. You take the Furious Appetite, you have only rage, not willpower anymore. And also you do double damage if your rage is above 750. So you need to manage your rage, but it's amazing. And also we take the Fluting Flames, which is great for any fast shooting builds, right? You get attack speed and you attack even faster and so on and so forth. We have, as usually, we have ours, as usually, intravenous neural cord, which gives you attack speed multiplier on crits. So it's a very interesting synergy crit with this one, attack speed multiplier. For Anvil, we get this one. It's a little bit annoying, and I don't play it myself particularly well. You have to hit 6 times with your basic attacks, which is left click, and after that, the next one does a huge damage increase, 200 and whatever 20 here, which is amazingly good, right? For Anvil, for example. So use this one before Anvil. Then we have Siege Breaker, which is amazing for this build again, because even if we move because of the skill, but you don't actually move, so you keep those up most of the time. And I took a few notes here and there. This one, I may reconsider this part, to be honest. I may come through here, to be honest, and I drop those because I think those are not really helping too much. This is an interesting node. Those are not as great, so I may consider killing this part and pick it like that now if I think. So you see, the ideas are coming as you play. I may update this GOF in 2-3 days on the description with a new version. What to consider here is, this is a very good node. So consider taking this one, especially you are AoE, people are dying, mobs are dying exactly next to you, so you can pick up this one without the need of having this one. And EOS, it's always a good one. So maybe I will do some changes and pick up EOS. Because it's pretty nice. When your force shield is below 50, you get 20% sacred damage, and plus 10 is 35%. And the tricky part is that because you are a melee build, I guess your shield will be hit quite often. I need to test, but I feel this is pretty decent for a melee build. Okay. And I think I jump over this one, which is the most important one in every defensive build, is the Dire Juncture. If you take this one, plus you have 100% block chance, you practically block every of the hits twice. So you take 50 damage from the initial one, but if you block, you will take less, right? Because you have some block efficiency. And the second piece of the hit, you block it again. So this is like, in my opinion, 92% damage reduction if you have 80% block efficiency. I'm not very sure if my math is correct, but I feel this is the one. And make sure you get 1 ether damage to attacks if you follow my build, to make sure you trigger the stasis, and which time cannot heal one, right? Because otherwise you cannot have stasis. So pretty much this is the build. Now let's go next, gear and options, right? Again, this is a buff build. So for endgame, you can play this one as a beginner, don't get me wrong, the same skills and everything else, but the buff part of it, which is this one, is becoming very effective when you get First Man Legacies and Imbued Purify statements, because you get here 50% plus 50% 100 plus almost 100 200 plus almost, so you get 300% buffs. Everything here, it's a buff, and it's buffing you. You've seen before, right? Defense goes up, right? Skills goes up, right? So this is a buff build. You need those for endgame, but until then, don't get. You can do whatever you want, right? Now I'm using the Seal of Arbiter here for crit chance and weapon damage, but I lose a lot of attack speed. As you've seen in the toxic one, you have some other options. Feel free to check that one. Is that level 1? I forgot the name of the ring, the small green one, which gives you attack percentage, and as well it's giving you attributes, so it's very, very good. You can use whatever amulet I have a bad one here. You can use whatever amulet you can with occult damage, one-handed damage, right? Let me remind you a little bit, so I don't actually speak over everything, right? So look there. What you want to get if you don't have this gear, you want to get gear which is giving you exactly what you see on my screen, right? So attack speed, melee speed damage. You want as much as physical attack you can, right? Because this build is transforming, as you've seen. If you look here, and I'm showing you again, this is converts physical damage to shadow. So you want a knife in general, if you don't have abolition, which has much physical damage as you can get. Get the maximum physical you can get. This one, it's an amazing one for this build. You will have to need it in. You'll have to have it in the end game because it's adding you shadow damage to attacks. Also has a 30%, 35% block chance. Unfortunately, doesn't go upper, which goes pretty well with this amplified shield. And this one has also crit. So I got rovers. I'm using the trial. If you don't have trial, again, look on my screen. Take a one which has. You want, in general, for amulet and belt, you want something which has at least 3 of those or even 4 of those for your build. If he has, you are very well set up. Now, to be able to use all those without having knife or catalyst, you need to have the veiled eclipse, right? Which allows you to use shadow skills. And all the spells are using rage if you were it. So that's why, you see, otherwise I couldn't use those because I don't have any catalyst or stuff. But with this one, because they are shadow, I can use it. I like to use these imbued ones. I don't know if they are great. They give me 5% block efficiency, and I feel it is very nice. Movement speed, and also triggers the winter gaps, which I'm not very sure if it triggers or not, but feels like it does. So pretty good. Now, one more considerant. So again, you can do that with any other gear which has the stuff here. So don't be afraid. Even if you don't have those at the beginning, you can play the build until end game, and then you will be able to farm those. It's not, I mean, they don't have an amazing drop rate, but you can farm them. Or you can trade them. And again, I do have some of them, so feel free to ping me and we do a trade. What else? What else is important here? I think we got through everything. You see, I have stasis and cursed. You need to have that if you want everything to work as planned here. The next piece for us was leveling, right? So let me see what we have here. Did I close that? I did. Okay. So leveling, you can, as usually, start as a warrior. Pick up all those skills here. Use a knife and a catalyst. Make sure that the knife has as much physical damage as you can. And put whatever gear is helping melee, one-handed, right, as you've seen on my screen before. Don't be afraid to experiment. Then in terms of Gate of Fates, what you want to do is to go to the ones which are giving you good stuff very fast. You may want to go very fast to the critical damage multiplier here, right? You may want even to go to get this attack speed at the beginning. You may want to get the critical chance score at the beginning, right? So don't be afraid to experiment a little bit. Then as you grow up, there are a few of them which are very, very useful. And let me see. You want to go to 20% attack speed multiplier as fast as you can, because this one is really helpful. The static transfer is not that important. It's needed only for what we said before for Anvil. The Diesel Investor is very good as well. So go here and here first after you get the mid ones, right? What else we have here? We have the Fluting Farms, amazing as well. So feel free to go and pick up those as well because they are very good. And you see they are all not necessary in this area, but you can reach through here to all of those. And sometimes you may say, look, I need 2 more points to go, but this is very important for me to take. Don't be afraid to kill, for example, the ones here and come back here, right? And for the end game, you want to take for sure Dire Juncture together with this one because they are close for that defense, right? But this is the defensive part here. So you don't need it at the beginning until you want to do stuff. When you will have the ability to buff yourself, you can take those nodes as well. Again, this one is very important, so take it as fast as you can. Occult Affliction is not even very good, even with you have the trial. Is not that great, by the way, because it's only additive damage. So feel free to drop those. What you may want to do at the beginning, if you want to feel very fast, you may want to take the attack speed nodes. So don't be afraid to say speed and take attack speed or attack speed, right? So don't be afraid to say, look, I want to take some attack speed from some places here and here, and make your build feel very nice when you fight. Okay, so this was the leveling part. Let's do a very short. I think we spent too much time here. I will not do too much gameplay. As usually, I'm going to link additional gameplay later. And for this build, actually, we do have a 2K. What was that? Headhunt, right? I think, which we put before. So you already have some gameplay for that. Let's do something very fast. So I have an Onslaught here, right? Let's do an Onslaught. And again, this is a buffing one. So let's see how it goes. I'm buffing myself with everything I have. I'm practically immortal when I'm buffed, as you guys noticed. Right? You are immortal when you are buffed because you have that. You are not immortal, don't get me wrong, but you have a very good defense because you have that block. Right? So the gameplay is pretty simple. You hold the right click. From time to time, you make sure you do this. If you have very tough enemies, you want to make sure you keep your block chance to 100% by pressing on shout, right? And if you want to kill those pesky bosses, what you can do is you left click, as I do here. I press by mistake another key, I think, and after that you anvil. I mean, I pressed Anvil actually, to be honest, but I didn't charge it. However, he died from one, right? So you've seen, I didn't need to charge it actually. Let's try to do it here. So I'm charging, this guy is the one who is pushing me, right? And then I'm charging my Anvil 3 times and he died, right? Very, very easy. So it feels pretty good. The problem I have is that you have to charge that Anvil and also that you have to charge your static transfer before. So be sure that before you do that, you actually use the shout at least, so you don't die, because you'll be vulnerable, right, for a little bit of time. I'm not going to farm anything from here. So we will get out. Okay, anything interesting here? I'm going to go very fast through it. Spell attacks, it's a combination. I will just take this one. We got an imbuye for a word. That's pretty cool. Okay. Do we have everything, something which is very fast here? I don't think we do. And we probably stop here. Sabotage was this expedition. Those are long. Do we have a... I have a pure memo echo? Okay. Let's do a pure memo echo just to showcase a little bit the single target, as I said before, which is not great. It's a little bit annoying, but you can make it work. And can be huge, right? So I'm buffing myself. I'm going to do a little bit for speed. Then I'm hitting this one, and then 1, 2, 3, 4. Wow. Ah, it was pretty well, right? So it's not bad. It's not bad. It's a little bit more chaotic or I don't want to call it skilled. It's not skilled, right? But you kind of need to time it right. Okay. Good. I hope I didn't miss anything. If I do, please comment and I will try to update. Thank you all. I hope you enjoyed. Again, please consider follow me on Twitch, on YouTube, join us on Discord and leave your comments. Bye bye for now.